Oh, a punch five. Wow. Dangereux.
With your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
I want to shout this out. At Maple Syrup 34 says, I could kiss you guys. I missed you so much. My question is, why don't you? Bet.
Adam, I'm going to address the elephant in the room.
What is it?
Yeah, we need to start with an apology.
Apology?
Oh,
What, for the Leon
that
Draisaitl
elephant in the room.
contract? The Leon Draisaitl contract thing?
Nope.
Okay, you know what? Let's start with Jesse's, and then we'll get to what my stupid one was.
What's your elephant? Do your bit.
It's not a bit.
I don't want to start with the elephant in the room. I want to start with the show we have to announce. Can we do the elephant afterwards?
Yeah,
When did you get a
definitely.
bright yellow phone case?
I love my bright yellow phone.
I just don't know when it happened, and I was
I got a
distracted
new
all
phone.
day yesterday.
I got a new phone, and then I decided instead of black, I would go gold. I was like, why not go gold? Because then you can pick your phone out.
Because
Right?
it's an Olympic summer.
And then I got yellow, and I don't know. I just liked it.
Did you purchase that phone case, or was that just one line around?
No, I bought it.
Oh, okay.
I wanted this.
You wanted the yellow.
Yeah, guys, my first car was yellow. I like yellow. I like the color.
Damn, you live like this? Yeah. It's nice. It's really nice. I was
Whatever,
just
man.
distracted all day
Oh man,
yesterday.
I'm sorry I didn't get black and silver like everybody else. I like this. I like a little pop. Of color.
Yeah, no, it's good.
Thank you, Jesse.
Now apologize for the line.
What do I need to apologize for? Line A, the second rounder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, like, get a
Which
grip,
team
guys.
got
It's
it?
been a month. Like,
Which team got it?
Montreal got it.
Oh,
Someone said this.
dipshit.
Someone said this is the second time you got it wrong, which I thought was funny.
Well, it's probably because I got it wrong with the CJ thing, right?
Yeah.
Who cares? The story's
I
lying.
think it matters.
Okay, great. Montreal. Just let me. You don't get. You're right. You don't get the pick until I tell you you've got it. Holy mother of! Just calm down. It's insane.
I also felt bad, like myself doing my job because I didn't notice. Right? You said it, and we just, like
'Cause
Steve
it's
and I
like-
didn't know.
because
So we went on continuing. I feel like
second round
we
pick.
should get the details of a trade correctly.
Oh, I want to know what Matty Mike has
up,
to
Matty?
say.
I also felt embarrassed because on the Instagram clip, I put 14.4.
Yeah, well, the Leon,
which
so
isn't
that-
true.
To be fair, there was somebody who had posted it. They deleted it, and we had done the Leon thing maybe half an hour after it was announced. So
Yeah.
what I read was 14.4, and where I got it was wrong. So I was wrong.
Well, who the fuck?
Can I
I don't
say,
even
like,
remember. It was
maybe
like-
you should get the contract details from like the Edmonton like
Puckpedia
Twitter.
is not. Puckpedia got it later. They were not wrong. Puckpedia were not wrong, but I got it later, and I was like, okay. Oh no, again. $400,000. Shit, that makes all the difference. What are we gonna do?
Well, I would just like to say, once what?
It's not that Leon Draisaitl signed. It's not that Line A is a Canadian. It's there's a 2026 second round pick that nobody's acknowledged.
But here's the great thing.
This is my team. You guys are ill-informed. Toronto, screw you, Leaf fans. Like F. Are you guys kidding me?
You regret doing the Habs Reddit thing, don't you?
Compliment the Canadians management for how great a job they've done.
No.
I have to give Stan Bowman a ton of credit for the contract that he signed with Leon Draisaitl, although I'll be fair. I did stir the pot with the Core 4 comment, and that was on purpose. But
Also, it's like he didn't deserve any credit. It's just like, yeah, Leon wants this, you give it to him. Like, what did Stan really do?
Fair. And like Leon seemed genuinely happy in all the interviews that I saw yesterday afternoon. He was like,
No.
I'm so glad I get to put
upset.
on this jersey. I can never imagine myself putting on another one. I'm like, if I was a Leaf fan and this was my player, I am a Leaf fan. If I was an Oiler fan and this is my player, I'd be running through a wall for Leon Draisaitl right now. But no, it's the $400,000, guys. That's what we're going to focus on.
You know how many yellow phone cases
my
you can buy
God.
for $400,000?
So many yellow phone cases for $400,000.
It's so snazzy.
That's what I think, man.
But you got to understand how it's like.
It stands out.
Not a lot of people have one.
Yeah,
Now I got to get one.
I get that. I imagine that among the Apple phone case sellers, it's probably the least.
Would it bother you if I bought the same kind of case?
Not at all.
Then
We
you
could
won't
be
special.
We'd be yellow together. A little yellow phone case. Gold, actually. I prefer gold.
I don't.
That's what I went for because that's what Apple told me it was. They told me it was gold, and then the phone case showed up.
They
and it was
lied.
actually yellow.
Adam,
But
what year is the second round pick that's going to Montreal?
I don't care. How many second round picks from Montreal do I need to track? I think it was what was it, 3 years ago? They had 4 of them. I don't know, man. Keep drafting. It's great.
2026.
That's what I said earlier.
Okay.
I thought I was wrong when I said it.
That's not what you said.
Didn't I say 20?
No, yeah, that's what you said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll check the tape.
Because I checked it.
Clearly, we don't listen.
I checked it after somebody said I got it wrong, and I was like, okay. Did it change anything? Did it change anything about what we said? Not a thing. is the answer. Line A, Montreal, good.
Well, facts don't matter then.
Yeah, I guess. Oh man, you know what? I'm gonna throw a party.
Hot and bothered.
I am gonna throw a party in 2026. I'm gonna do a live stream just for Montreal's second round
Put it in your
pick.
calendar.
I am. I'm gonna June 2026. We're doing an SDPN live stream, and whoever they select, we are doing a full like elite prospects breakdown of this player, and go, oh my god, can you believe Montreal not only got Lion, but they got the next Maurice and Henri Richard in one player. It's
You know
crazy.
what? You know
How
what?
did that happen? That's insane. They drafted Carey Price, Maurice Richard, and Larry Robinson. It's the same guy.
We need like 20 months from now or something
That's
like
what
that
it is.
to lose our fucking minds when they make that pick.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I'm ready.
Oh, yeah.
I'm ready.
Lose our mind.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
God.
No,
And-
this player's got to be like our favorite player. They got to be the
100%.
mascot of the podcast.
They're the new Jake and Smallwood. They're going to follow their entire career.
Yeah.
I need them to be Czech.
Have to be
Because I need them to be represented by Alan.
Yes, they got to be Walsh client.
And
Absolutely.
also, I'm learning Czech on Duolingo.
By the way, yeah, this guy's
Why do you keep saying
yeah. We
Because I'm learning Czech on
Also-
Duolingo.
also Duolingo is not paying us. This is not a paid.
Yeah,
Just
no.
throwing that
But
out.
they ought to.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like Babbel, to be honest.
Is that the same thing?
No.
I think Duolingo's got better social
Oh.
media presence, but you know,
It's Bumble for linguists. What is Babbel?
Babbel's the same thing.
don't know.
It's the same. It's like they're just competing. At it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like Rogers and Bell.
So if I try to learn Czech on both, I'll really learn it.
I think you'll learn it about the same rate because it's not about how good the app is. It's about how good your brain is.
I've heard the CJ show sponsored by Babbel a couple episodes.
Is it? Oh, okay.
So,
Well,
why? What are you doing with our sponsors there? Steve?
Yeah.
sorry, I'm learning Czech on Babbel.
Yeah. So
Prominte for that mistake.
Promete. What is that? Sorry.
It's like excuse me and sorry.
Oh, okay.
Prominte.
I like that they have that in one word. That's much more efficient.
Yes, there's a bunch of things about Czech where I'm like, that's efficient. We should do that. And then there's a bunch where I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The problem with
it's a very interesting language.
English is a mix of French and like old Norwegian and Russian, or not Russian, Roman, and like it's just there's 250,000 English words, whereas like I think French has like 50,000. It's just too many.
From word to word, it's like we love vowels.
Yeah.
And actually, I think we're just going to do away with them.
So can I talk?
Altogether.
Can I
Right.
now do the announcement for the show that we have coming up in a couple weeks that's live
Only if the details are correct.
for $400,000
400,000. Is that how
and a
much tickets
second
are?
round pick in 2026?
What are we, Oasis?
The SDP, not for any of those, is going back to St. Catharines for the second year in a row. It is the Course and Clubhouse Show, 5 HD golf simulators that feature 40 real courses and many other options, driving ranges, arcade games, etc. Jesse Blake will be there, of course, doing his longest drive competition.
Oh,
which
yes.
was sick last year because Jesse had it right up until the end. How long was your drive? Can you remember that?
I don't remember.
You remember that? Okay.
No. But yeah, somebody beat me at the very end. It was kind of cool.
It's
Very
got-
dramatic.
We're talking about a full kitchen, and the food is actually amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Upscale pub food, 20 draft beers, a lot of local favorites as well. ODR Hockey Heroes, the game that's in development from one of the fans of the SDP and SDPN, will be there as well, showcasing it, so you get to play that. Ticket sales are officially live, and tickets are $20. $20, and that's it.
Sorry, Adam. Don't you mean 40? Just details don't matter. Fine.
That detail matters. The
Yeah,
second round pick.
what year is
who's
it?
like 15 right now? Doesn't fucking
What
matter.
year is this event?
Okay,
Doesn't
well, you know
matter.
what? From
Doesn't
now
matter.
on-
I don't care.
From now on, everybody, I'm just going to get all the trades right, and I'm going to read them extremely slowly. I'm going to read them as slowly as Steve signs his name.
Wow, that's too slow.
You think so? Is that
And
bad podcast?
Also, I have a better idea.
How is it?
Get all of them correct, except the Habs ones.
That's a great idea.
Exclusively get the Habs trades
Okay, I'm
wrong.
done. That's perfect.
There
I
it
love
is.
it. I love it.
Just a
New
note.
bit.
Just a note about the show. This is the second time we've officially announced the show because we did it way back on our last episode
can't remember
of
anything.
the season in July. And during the course of last month, when we last announced it, a lot of tickets were sold. So get your ticket now because there's a chance it might sell out very soon because a lot of people have already picked up tickets for the show. So if you want to go, you don't have much time.
thecourseandclubhouse.com. The link will be in the description below. Very, very excited to see you all there for our first live show this season, which is fantastic. Now,
Hot darn.
continuing with our what you missed this summer stuff, because there was essentially a lot and a little bit of some news today and stuff, but there's some Leaf stuff that we didn't really get to yesterday. And the first thing, obviously,
That feels impossible.
I know.
There was so much.
Auston, I think we would have got to this if Leon hadn't signed the contract. But yeah, when he signed the contract, it was like, okay, now we got to shuffle things. Matthews is now the captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs. John Tavares handing it off. Apparently, this happened over the course of like a few weeks, where at the end of season meetings, John sat down with Brad Treliving and Brendan Shanahan. They sort of broached the idea. They had discussions about it. Shanahan went to Tavares' house, make sure he was okay with it.
It was a process.
That's
it
right.
wasn't just, oh, John, give me that shit.
Yeah.
It was a process.
Yeah. And John is graciously passing the baton on to Auston Matthews, where, what was interesting to me about this story, guys, and I don't know if this was your experience with it, but I thought most Leaf fans were like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't like any hot takes about it.
No, I mean, the mood in Leafs Nation is poor. Mm-hmm. It's not good. Mm-hmm. There's obviously a lot of fans who are stoked. A lot of fans listening right now going, well, that doesn't describe me. And I understand that. It's not just my view of the team, but like, dude, they just lost in the first round again. Mm-hmm. They talked about everything's on the table, and then as close to nothing happening happened. As close to nothing happening as possible happened. Basically, nothing from the core. And they made a couple good signings, and it's been a very boring offseason. And they're taking a C from Tavares' jersey, and they're putting it on Matthews. And a lot of pessimists are like, all right, what's that supposed to do? Is that going to help him score in the playoffs? Like what is that supposed to do? I think that's why it felt...
It's not going to not give him the flu. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. I just feel like it felt kind of flat.
I liked it.
Once the games start, once they take to the ice again and they announce Auston and they announce him last because he's the captain, everyone's going to feel really excited. And it's going to be... the stories write themselves, and I'm sure he'll have a big first game because he always does, and then it'll be about the sea. But like in terms of it as a summer story, I'm not surprised people didn't care all that much.
I thought it was a little premature to remove the captaincy from Tavares. I think if his contract's coming to an end this season, there's a natural conclusion and a transition to a new era.
Yeah.
I thought the way CJ put it in his article in The Athletic, where he started his second paragraph. I'll just read it to you right now. I have it up. No matter how many different angles you try to see it from, no matter how favorably the acts and timelines and timelines and chain of conversations might be rearranged, there's simply no way to spin the Toronto Maple Leafs decision as a positive outcome for the well-respected forward. And I think that rings very true in that if you're the captain of a team and your goal is to bring a Stanley Cup to the organization and you want to be the captain, it's not like John Tavares no longer wants to be the captain. This had to be taken from him.
Yeah.
It's a failure. And I think it's tough for me to watch that. It was tough for me to watch that press conference because there's a guy whose goal is to win a Stanley Cup for the Leafs and be the captain of the team, and he didn't accomplish that, and it's being taken from him and given to Auston. So it was a little sad for me. I'm being honest.
I understand that feeling, and like it makes perfect sense. I doubt he was like, "That's a great idea, Brad. Hell yeah, mm-hmm. Take it from me. Give it to Auston and do whatever you want." I think he handled it with grace, like putting, not just literally passing the torch, like handing the jersey to Auston.
Yeah, literally,
literally passing the torch.
All they needed was a literal torch.
Very symbolic, really on the nose, but like. Having his kids dressed in Matthews jerseys, like you're putting someone else's name on your kids. Like that's a big deal. From an organizational standpoint, though, I do think this is the time to do it. Because this year, like, listen, we know the Leafs are scared to death about the messaging of anything getting out of their control. Mm-hmm. And this year has the potential to really go off the rails in terms of messaging. Like if the fan base is to be feared, like the team seems to fear it, don't know why they sell tickets. Tavares has a contract expiring as a UFA. So that's your captain. We were just talking about Crosby, talking about Stamkos. Well, This is your captain heading into a year with no contract, and whether or not it even makes sense to just let him walk or whatever. It's a story. And the deeper we get into the season, it's a story. And then the trade deadline passes and he's not traded. And all of a sudden, you're heading into the playoffs and like, is this the last hurrah? And that becomes a distraction. And Mitch. Like, Tavares isn't even the Leafs' biggest pending unrestricted
Yeah, that's
free agent.
1A. 1A is Mitch. I think he's ahead of JT in terms of the UFAs.
Yes, but it depends on who you ask. Like, Marner's the bigger star. He's the higher scorer. He's the better player. But Tavares is the captain. And if you don't get out in front of one, you definitely can't get out in front of the other. Like, maybe you're limiting it to one headache now. This isn't a headache anymore. You know what I mean? I know it sucks for Tavares.
Yeah.
I do. But for the Leafs, to me, this is business taken care of.
I think the way it fell flat too is that there was no lead up to it, and it feel like I don't think they should have got ahead of it. I feel like if he's coming to an end of a contract and if he decides to move on, there's the captaincy leaving. It's easy that way. And if he's re-signing, then with the new contract, you usher in a new era. So it felt a little flat in the middle of the summer to do this all of a sudden at the beginning of the season when there's no real lead up for media wise or team wise. And then,
well, I think that part was on purpose. The no lead up part was for sure
100%.
Yeah.
The Leafs love not making noise, even though they're the noisiest franchise in the sport. So I don't know. I thought it definitely fell flat in that it was a little rushed and early.
Why not fight for your throne? Like, right now,
I see. This is where you guys, I disagree with Jesse on this. I think the problem here, why not fight for your throne?
Yeah.
Is exactly the reason why John's not captain anymore.
Oh, I meant the team.
I think in this particular case, and this is where I get frustrated with John. I watched him get ragdolled a couple times against the Bruins. I mentioned it on the show. Game 3, Jesse and I were there. And I looked at Jesse and said, it would be nice if he showed some emotion sometimes. I think it is absolutely the right time. They need to have somebody. I mean, there was a time when this team looked to, if they were down, you could look to Tavares and you could look to Marner and Matthews, Nylander, whatever. I don't think those days where John is going to come out there and score the winning goal are the same anymore. I think it's Auston, Mitch, Willie, and then a little bit further, and then it's John.
Are we forgetting that he scored the OT winner to
2 seasons ago? What have you done for me lately?
Sorry. The second round, their first playoff series win.
And he did it on the island too. But my point is that
what's crazy is his save percentage, his shooting percentage was down, and there's reason to believe you could have a bounce back here.
I think, I've been a Tavares booster the whole way, but I've thought for 2 years that Matthews is the real captain of this team, and I think you need a younger voice who's perhaps a little bit more passionate in the outward sense. It's not to say John's not driven. It's not to say John doesn't dedicate every second of his life, because we know he does.
He does.
To being a better hockey player. We know that. Sometimes it's not just leading by example. Sometimes it's just like, I remember when I was growing up, I had this VHS of the Detroit Red Wings first Stanley Cup since like the 50s or 60s. It was called the Hockeytown video. Did you have that too?
I didn't, but like our neighborhood was a huge Red Wings neighborhood
because of Draper. Yeah. So I had it, and I remember they like talk about in the playoffs the type of leaders that they had, and specifically Yzerman. And there was a game where they were just terrible, like just a terrible. I think it was probably against the Ducks in the third round or whatever it was, and I guess Chris Draper is actually interviewed in this, and he talked about Yzerman's reaction to it, and he's like, he didn't yell, he didn't scream, but he's like, we knew, and I feel like, especially for a younger guy, you look at a Matthew Nyes or an Easton Count or whatever coming up, they're gonna look at Matthews and go, he's a fucking god. Right? And whatever he says, I'm listening to it. And it's not that John isn't great, but his star is fading. And I don't know what.
2009 was a long time ago.
What's that?
2009 was a long time.
And I don't know.
That's when he was picked.
I don't know that means that he's not going to get 80 points again this year. And I think if he did, it wouldn't surprise me. But the point is that for me, looking from the outside in, Matthews is a new voice. It's not about being quiet when you lose. It's about kind of being like, you guys better pull it together. And I also think on the ice, having to deal with problems, situationally, right? Where they send the captain out there to talk to the ref. It's going to be him and Morgan Riley doing that now. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the way it should be. That's my personal opinion.
And I think all the reasons you gave are the reasons that the Leafs probably decided to give Auston the captaincy, and those are the reasons. But I still look at all that stuff. I'm like, okay, if the Leafs thought like this, I still feel for the man who then they look at him as a failure. I'm like, that sucks.
I don't think they look at him as a failure because
they're saying you weren't enough to be captain.
He wasn't.
And I don't know if I hold that.
The San Jose Sharks did it to Joe Thornton.
Yeah.
Or did they do it to Marleau to give it to Thornton? I can't even remember anymore. It was Marleau Thornton.
I think it was Thornton first.
And they were there for years afterwards. Yeah. And I think made the finals afterwards.
I think, yes. Jesse, this feels, there's a flavor to this that reminds me of Jerome McGinley had retirement forced upon him. Mm-hmm. And like
John Tavares had captaincy forcibly taken away from him. Mm-hmm. He did not choose
captaincy that he got like 5 years ago. Like a lot happened in half a decade.
Half a decade, man.
Yeah. I think there was a natural conclusion coming in on July 1st or whenever he signs the next deal. Like if he takes the team discount, that felt like a natural transition into a new era. I don't know.
I think you're really underestimating the distraction this was going to be. This was going to be bad.
We'll never know.
Yeah,
good.
Thank God, because the Mitch contract thing is going to be.
Yeah, now we get to talk about Mitch Marner for 800 days in a row. Awesome, guys.
To be fair, I think with the Leafs, remember when the Leafs said everything was on the table, and we were like, okay, everything's on the table, and they were like, but it isn't. Through their actions, right? You don't judge somebody on their words; you judge them by their actions.
Everything's on the table except a phone.
Yeah,
apparently.
We simply couldn't. We could not. He's got a no trade. We simply couldn't call anybody else to see.
Everything meant Nick Robertson's going to sit out.
Yeah. You know what? You know who we're breaking on the wheel? It's Nick Robertson.
That's the big move, you guys.
We can't let these RFAs, get one over on us.
Tanev's the best right-handed shot they've had in literally like a generation. It's pathetic.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's pathetic, and yet, well, he's here now, so good. I'm going to ignore the amount of years. I'm ignoring the amount of years.
Tanev is not the pathetic part, right? It's the fact that they've had not had a right shot defenseman in so long.
Mm-hmm. And you know how most people enjoy their summers, and I think about hockey?
Yeah.
Sean Durzi would have easily been the best right-handed Leaf defenseman in 20 years.
Yeah.
Who would have been better?
It would have been, but we wouldn't have had Muzzin and Hall. And that would have been depressing.
No, you know what? We had to trade Durzi to get Muzzin, who was great.
He was great.
Tie him to my fucking
Justin Hall. But don't worry, Justin Hall's really good. The numbers back it up. So that leaves us with what the team is now, and this is what's really interesting because obviously I think they did make some good moves. I'm a bigger fan of some of their moves, I think, than I've seen written, and maybe that's a bad thing, but I don't mind Oliver Ekman-Larsson at the price they got him for. I don't mind Chris Tanev at the price they got him for, and I think you've got more defensiveness, more toughness back there, and with Oliver Ekman-Larsson, you have a puck-moving defenseman beyond Morgan Riley. Thank God.
Yes.
Thank God. Yes. And Lilligren, too. He's there.
Here's what matters and is just not being talked about enough. They don't score in the playoffs. And yes, it's September. The playoffs aren't until April. I get it. Mm-hmm. Up front, they lost 35 goals.
Well, that's where I was going to go.
Oh, well, there you go.
That's where I'm headed. And the left side, specifically, looking a little thin.
They're losing 21 from Bertuzzi and potentially another 14 from Robertson.
Yeah, he's going to be back.
Where? Where?
He's going to play on the wing. Now, that brings us to...
Some of those will be made up by Bobby McMahon being a little healthier and hopefully maintaining the goal-scoring prowess that he showed in the winter last year. And plus, Matthew Nyes is going to take another step and get better just because he's young and getting better each year.
Could those two combine to fill that gap?
Yeah, I think
that's what
so.
They literally have to because... and Matthews has to repeat the greatest goal-scoring performance of the cap era.
I was literally about to bring that up. Plus, you got to make up for Matthews dropping back because what he did last year is impossible.
The answer, like if he misses a month or something and also just doesn't score 69 frigging goals again, it could be, oh no, they actually have to make up 50, 60.
No, I don't think that's it.
It's possible.
That's not it because they don't have. Go look at their goals against totals last year. Their goals for and their differential's shitty. And it's because Samsonov was like, I can't play goal.
And
for the first three months of the year, I can't play goal. And then Woll came in and he was good. And then he got hurt. And then Samsonov was like, I'm great. Like it's what happened in the playoffs happened over 8 months in the regular season. It just happened over 7 games. Sammy can't play. Woll's in. Woll's hurt. Sammy can play. And then but unfortunately in game 7, even though he only let in 2 goals, it wasn't enough because the Leafs couldn't score.
It was such a good example of not ignore your gut, trust your gut. Sammy looked great for 4 months, and he looked terrible the last 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
We should have known. But I argued at the time. Listen, logically, there's no argument Woll should be in net. And then you know what? Some of that lands on Woll because Woll was like the opposite. He went from being relatively undependable to you put him in net and you can't beat him.
And then he got hurt, and then he came back and he wasn't very good.
Well, no, I'm talking about in the playoffs.
Oh, in the playoffs, yeah.
No, unbeatable, hurt, came back, wasn't very good for like several months. Was undependable. They put him in net for a playoff game. You cannot get a puck past this human being.
Yep. And
then he got hurt.
I would say that the upgrades they've made on defense, and they are upgrades, make no mistake, they're better players than were there last year. There is no more TJ Brody. It's very likely that if Benoit and McCabe are split up, it's because Oliver Ekman-Larsson is playing with McCabe. And then Benoit, who had a great year last year, can go back to playing probably minutes more in line with what he should be playing anyway.
More power play options.
Yeah, more power play options, all those things. And also new power play coach and new head coach. So the power play doesn't have to be anemic. I think if you solve part of the problem of the goals that you lost by allowing less. By having Anthony Stolarz, who had, I believe, of goalies that played over 25 games, the best save percentage in the league last year.
He was very, very good.
And Joseph Woll, who, assuming he's healthy, has been very good as a Leaf. And then you have, the best defensive defenseman by advanced metrics in the league, Chris Tanev.
Over a period of time, yeah.
So that part for me, I'm like, those are, when Dubas talked about this, and I think it's an organizational ethos, it's not just Kyle, when they talked about, hey, we're going to put all this money in these 4 players, we're going to have to find value elsewhere. I think they did that. I think Stolarz at, what is it, $2 million? How did 2 or 2.5?
2.5, yeah.
That's great. That's great. It's fantastic. By the way, the guy's like 6'9". He's huge.
To me, it just comes down to win a goddamn playoff.
Well, yes, exactly.
Like,
but we're talking about how. Let's not.
No, I know, but
that's like the race to the bottom argument. It's like, we can't go there all year. We got to talk about how they're going to take steps to do that. Matthew Nyes, Matthew Nyes.
Sure.
Give me. Let me give you this. Sure. Matthew Nyes and Bobby McMahon were 2 names that Jesse brought up, and I think they're great names to bring up. Bobby surprised everybody because he was on waivers to start the year. Matthew Nyes, I think, over the 80 game thing was good. But it was sort of a ho-hum year. There was a lot of nights where he kind of wasn't there.
I think he got better each quarter.
Sure.
Ish.
15 goals. Still had 15 goals.
Good end of the season and good playoff.
And he's a monster in the playoffs. So I feel like with Matthew Nyes, you've got a good opportunity there to take a step forward. Maybe it's not a huge step. Maybe it's 22 goals.
That's 7. 7's a lot.
7's a lot of goals. And then with Bobby McMahon, what did he have, 11 or 12?
14 or 15.
So could Bobby McMahon get to 18? And then could you stop 10 or 15 more because your defense and goaltending is a little more sorted out?
I have zero worries about their goal differential. Like I've seen some pessimistic projections like, oh yeah, like they're going to be a wild card team. They might miss the playoffs. Guys, you are letting another first round exit has gotten to your head. Yeah. The regular season is so far from the problem. They, out of the last, like since the rookie year in 2017, they've had a grand total of 1 regular season where making the playoffs was even in question.
Yep.
And they still made it.
Yep.
On a technicality on account of the friggin' pandemic and everything.
Well, but so was the team they played. They were in there on a technicality.
Exactly. Yes.
And I don't think they technically count making the playoffs, right?
They
made the
counted-
play-
No, because they lost the qualifying round.
Yeah, they made the qualifying round, but they didn't make the playoffs.
If you lose the qualifying round,
Even
I think
though-
what that means is you didn't qualify.
The Pittsburgh Penguins skew that stat because they say Crosby's postseason streak lasts through that, even though they lost in the qualifying round as well.
Dude, both of the worst seeds made it.
Yeah.
The friggin' Blackhawks and Habs were awful. They were both awful, and they both won. Oh,
But yeah, I don't think the Leafs will struggle to make the playoffs, but I could definitely see them in like the first wild card spot. They're in a very tough
three
division.
Atlantic teams are better.
They're in a very tough division, and I think wins are going to be taken away from them amongst the bottom teams that you could feast on last season.
So the question I would have on that is, first off, they didn't perform that great against the bottom teams, which is concerning, right? I don't
never
think
do.
They were never
They
good
never
against
do.
Ottawa.
Yeah.
I don't think they were great against Buffalo. I don't know what the season splits are anymore. I don't care. But it's never great. Like they always, those teams always seem to bring it for the Leafs. I think a lot of this hinges on how good Boston and Tampa are. Because if Boston and Tampa if Boston is Boston and Tampa have a resurgence over last year and Jake Gensel is like a breath of fresh air in that lineup and Jesse may not be that far off, right? Like it's that could be a dominant team.
One of Detroit, Ottawa, Montreal is going to figure out one of these years.
So you have the Panthers as the free space then?
I think that I don't know if they're going for I don't think they care about winning the division.
No.
But
Also, like, fatigue is a big
it is.
issue.
But they lost some good players. But I still Montour's gone, and I think that's a major one. And they lost Steven Lorentz. I mean, to the Leafs, which it's tough.
Take away from Florida, add him to the Leafs.
Who's the guy that always had his shirt off? His name escapes me. He went to Calgary.
Ryan Lomberg. Yes.
Lomberg, Long Beauty.
Beauty. The Lamborghini.
We're not talking about Ryan Lomberg didn't play every game. We're not talking about major stars here. I think that team, man, Florida feels like a repeat to me. They're that good.
They're really good, but they do have some considerations.
Yeah.
I think fatigue's going to be somewhat of an issue. Well, it's hard to win the cup and then it might be easier to win back-to-back
where they're
cups.
not in the top 3 of the Atlantic, because that's sort of what we're talking about.
I want to know the last team to win the cup and then the President's Trophy.
Oh, that's a good question.
Right?
Yeah. Not for me to look up, but
I think it's harder to do because no one cares about the President's Trophy.
Yeah, I really don't think it's relevant to a hockey team in terms of we gotta be successful and win the President's Trophy, and then that'll lead to the cup. That's not. I don't think any NHL player thinks like that.
yeah. No, I don't think so either.
But I can check it for you. If you really want.
I have higher hopes than I have higher belief in this team. I don't think they're going to be a wild card team. I think they will be in the top 3 in the division, likely third, because that's usually where they're comfortable. That's their median average.
Adam, I just figured out how we find out the answer.
How?
The last team to win the Stanley Cup and then the President's Trophy was the Dallas Stars. Okay, now someone's going to correct us.
Oh.
That's all you
said it was
that's
a
all you
Montreal-
do. You get it wrong on purpose.
You should. Oh, that's a great idea.
It's the last team, Dallas. In
2000. 99, 2000.
That's what I always say.
I like that. There you go. So part of the thinness up front, Steven Lorentz maybe plays a part in that, but obviously he's not.
Meh.
He's a a penalty kill guy. I was reading, Kevin Papetti had a great breakdown of him. The Leafs need that. Connor Dewar, Steven Lorentz, they need to kind of reshape what their penalty kill is. Pacioretty could end up in Detroit. He could end up in Toronto. That's an interesting one. Not necessarily because you're going to get a bunch of goals from him, but I do really like
His agent.
Well, I like his agent. I like Max Pacioretty, the guy who likes to win stuff, who gets really
Motivated?
upset when he doesn't. I like that. I like that a lot.
100%.
I don't. There are a few people I think they get more pissed off when they lose than Matt's, and it could be game 42.
It's funny. Oh man, there's such a difficult. Can we just talk about what a difficult team to read they are?
The Leafs?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we haven't seen them.
They're impossible to okay, what is a weakness of theirs?
The Leafs?
Yeah, we're going to play a game here because
Are
I
we-
think I know what you're going to say.
Regular season?
Isn't that the question, Adam?
Yeah, if it's in the playoffs, it's scoring in the playoffs.
Scoring in the power play.
And the power play. If it's in the regular season, it's
What's their strength?
Their strength?
Scoring in the power play.
Yeah, it's an enigma, right?
So like Max
So how they score is an issue.
well,
And Berube is that's why they brought him in. And it's impossible to get a read on a team with a new head coach.
yeah.
And know
until
what they're
you
gonna
see
look
it.
like.
And new staff.
Yeah,
Like
they're all
Marks of art in there.
They have made a lot of changes. It's just the foundational superstar ones that we thought might be coming or not.
Yeah, Lane Lambert. I feel like I did
You did a breakdown on Lane Lambert, and you told me. Remember, you said, and actually, you're wrong about Lane Lambert. He's pretty good.
You are friggin' wrong.
I'm
about
good.
Lane
I'm happy.
Lambert, you
I want to be
stupid
wrong.
Idiot. No, like they just. Again, like so, Pacioretty joins the team,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he makes depth scoring. There you go. Power play. There you go. but like that's not a weakness of theirs in the regular season.
Right.
Like how many teams
But that Keefe quote from the Amazon documentary in 2021.
playoff style goals?
Playoff style goals. And Thornton says, leave us alone. We're in first place.
Oh,
Right? Like that. That is, Steve, that's it. There it is.
they would have never done this. Like, okay. Joe Thornton was beloved for a time. Like, hey, Jumbo in Toronto, they should have terminated his contract.
When you're saying that,
Yeah, actually, Joe, you can go home. Don't worry about it. We'll find someone else. Don't worry about it. You're like 42. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Go home.
yeah.
Dude, if you can't be a worthwhile influence
At
on the
$1.1
team
million.
in your 40s, we're just not interested. Take care, actually. And who scored the last power play goal for the Leafs in that series?
Jumbo?
Jumbo.
There you go.
Fucking Jumbo. Take him off the power play. He's the reason they're losing. The amount of things they got in that series. Anyway.
Jesse, what are you looking at right now?
Just the President's Trophy, Stanley Cup stuff.
It was Dallas, I told you.
It wasn't Dallas. Dallas did it the other way, I think it was.
No way.
In 99, they won the cup, and then in would have been 98, they won the President's Trophy. I forget.
No
but
way.
I think the correct answer is the Edmonton Oilers. They did it
Holy
in
shit,
85.
so it is right.
85, they won the cup, and then 86, they won the President's Trophy.
Right, and they didn't win the cup because they screwed it up in the third round.
There you go.
So how many teams have won back-to-back cups in between, like since the last team to win the cup and then the President's Trophy? Like 10 teams have won the cup back-to-back. It's actually harder to win the cup and then the President's Trophy. That's why
Right.
or not harder, but more rare.
Yeah,
That-
more rare
Yes.
is the correct way to put it.
Yeah, more rare. That's why I'm not like where you rank the Panthers as a regular season team doesn't matter.
Didn't the Canucks lose in the finals and then the next year win the President's Trophy? Like,
Yes.
wasn't 2012?
Yes.
So they came pretty
very close.
Game 7 finals, too.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I do think Florida, I have good hopes for. I think Florida will keep it in perspective.
They'll be fine.
They've won the league regular season trophy. They've won the Stanley Cup. I think they know. Your favorite players are gearing up for a new hockey season, and we know a lot of you are gearing up for a new school year.
Yeah.
This is truly as I always say, this is the new year. This is
It
the
is.
true new year. Now, with meeting new people at Frosh Week or, pairing up with strangers for group projects, not just at school, but maybe at work too.
It's important to not have stank breath. That's what he was getting to.
Yes.
Don't be gross.
Yes. But our friends at XL Gum are launching Back to School, but it's spelled S-cool. You see,
Is it S dash like CHOOL?
no, it's just S-cool. We don't have room for your H.
So it's not
S-COOL.
S-cool.
That's right.
No, it's S cool.
But the reason we're spelling it out for you is because there is an available album on Spotify for you to wear if you just search Excel Gum on Spotify.
Get a lot of this.
Because,
Here, Jesse, hit me with some of that. Yeah.
Hear that?
ASMR.
Yeah.
You see, the youngins, Maddie specifically, loves the lo-fi beats, right, Maddie? You love the lo-fi beats?
I love a lo-fi.
Right? So this, XL Gum's got one for you on the full album of it. XL Gum, just search it on Spotify. You could turn study stress into confidence and carry it with you through the semester.
Well, I'll be doing that right after the show.
Right.
Yeah. Then you'll be S cool.
Not only that, you will conquer the school year with the perfect beats, but $1 from every stream will go to Pathways to Education, a national charity helping students in low-income communities overcome barriers to education. So you get your beats, but you also get a little bit of a charitable
This is
aspect.
actually awesome.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
this is really, isn't that nice?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was expecting the heartwarming angle
Yeah,
as
well,
well.
no,
I was
that's
just
why
having
you
fun
hung
chewing
around for the
gum.
ad.
You know, just like, oh, gum. Awesome.
So that person you're studying with may have good breath, but they also have good beats and a good heart.
Yeah, and it'll give you confidence. You'll be like, I excel at this. that was worth the interruption. That was
Yeah.
that was very good.
That's okay. So anyway, check it out. Buy some Excel gum. Enjoy your studying, and good luck. Now, something else out of Toronto is the PWHL Toronto team, which still doesn't have a name yet, although I'm expecting, I think those are coming this fall.
I hope so.
Will play at Coca-Cola Coliseum this year after selling out every single seat of the 2,600-seat Mattamy Athletic Center last year. That's the reason I didn't get down for one, because they were all sold out within minutes. 8,000 versus 2,600 will be a very, very cool thing. And I think, obviously, the Battle of Bay Street was the record. And then Montreal beat that record for the most people at a PWHL game. But they're thinking that this is going to be massive. And I wonder if it's another situation where they sell out every game again.
That was, wow, 8,000's a lot.
8,000's a lot.
Like the Marlies don't do close
No.
to that.
I think it's fair to say, though, that the demand for a PWHL ticket's higher than an AHL.
Well, I was gonna ask.
At least in this market.
I kind of think it is.
Of course it is. In this market?
Yeah.
Probably
absolutely.
right now, yeah.
Yep. And I say that I'm hoping that part of the reason that they go to the Coca-Cola Coliseum is they can scale the tickets, meaning that they can bring some of the pricing down. So it makes it, because they're, because like Leafs are clearly a premium buy for, a very expensive one night every few years for the average fan. Whereas the Marlies, you can go every Sunday for $20. Mm-hmm. And I hope the PWHL team is like that too.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of going to both arenas last season, seeing them at Mattamy and at Coca-Cola, and the Coca-Cola Coliseum was the playoff game when they got eliminated that I got to go see, and the prices weren't like expensive at all for the pair of tickets. Like
Right.
it was really reasonable.
We don't have a lot of luck with playoff games, do we, Jess?
No, I'm
I'm going. Maybe it's you.
I'm like 0-7 or something in my last 7 Toronto team playoff games. It's ridiculous.
Holy shit.
That's rough.
My God.
That's rough.
Am I the problem? But like the atmosphere at each of them, they're very different. Like the audience obviously is skewed younger, and obviously more female fans, which is excellent to see for growing the game of the sport. But it feels more like legit at Coca-Cola Coliseum, just because it's not at Metro.
I mean, it's a university.
TMU, where it's literally university hockey, and it's very simple, and like the concourse is right there, which gives you this very intimate feel. Like every seat at Mattamy is right there. It's like meeting you here. Yeah. So it was very cool seeing them in that atmosphere, but they deserve to be in this building where it's more pro. It's a pro building, and I'm glad that they're getting this upgrade, because Mattamy was just a little too tiny for what they're doing now, especially for the city and the importance and the amount of people who care about this team.
Mm-hmm.
This was always the plan.
Yeah.
Right?
I also like the idea that they went small first to create that like nobody can get in feeling, which is awesome. Because then it's like, now we're dying to go.
And if we're being honest about it, it wasn't by design. Like they tried to get into Coca-Cola last season, and there was a lot of logistics with MLSE and them not owning the team and everything, and them not being able to get into the building for all those dates on such last minute, because we know the league was thrown together in 6 months.
Yes.
Quite impressive, and they fell to Mattamy, and it worked. And then now it's time to upgrade and get there, and they can do that now that they have more runway, and they can figure out the concert dates and the show that they got to put on every year at Coca-Cola Coliseum and flood it. And Adam's very familiar with the flying, beaver that goes on skis. Like, what?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. What was that?
Is it a squirrel?
No, yeah, because they have 3 weeks in January or February where it's the boat show.
Yeah,
and that water is ice effing cold. By the way, I skied or boarded on. I can't even remember for breakfast.
You were like the first person that year to ever.
No, that was the skating rink.
Oh, okay.
When it was, so there's like a skating rink onto the Don Valley Parkway. I forget what it's called, the Beltway or something. Bentway, and it was minus 35 the morning that I became the first person to skate on it in the entire city, and I was like,
it's
I was
still
like,
there.
I was like, it's so. Oh yeah, it's there, because it was like a rich family that donated a bunch of money to the city so they could revitalize underneath that. That's what they, I forget who it was, but regardless, That was minus 35. And then, the breakfast television segment where I had to be on the water at Coca-Cola Coliseum. Because they have the wires, right? And you hold on to it's like a boat, but it's a wire. And it's so cold. I feel bad for that beaver or squirrel or whoever has to ski behind the boat for the local news. Because, man,
I don't think we do the squirrel, the water skiing.
Yeah, it's
squirrel
beaver
here.
water, isn't it? Yeah, they can stay warm.
Is it this isn't an Anchorman bit? Like this is a real thing?
Man, Anchorman nailed a lot of stuff. I'm just
The point is that there's a lot of things that go on in Coca-Cola Coliseum now that they got this giant runway. It's cool that they can schedule all these dates for PWHL Toronto.
Yeah, very cool. And it's also great for whoever owns Coca-Cola. I don't know if that's a city lease that is shared, but is it Tannenbaum that owns
it? MLSE, right?
Yes,
I think
but
it is Tannenbaum.
Because what's weird about that area is MLSE owns the soccer stadium in conjunction with the city. And when MLSE wants to do upgrades, the city tells them we don't have any money. And MLSE goes, that's great. We don't want you involved because you'll get in the way. And so they just do them and they pay for them. I don't know if Coca-Cola Coliseum, which used to be Ricoh Coliseum, is the same.
I don't know.
I don't know if it's the same tract of land.
Like 2 phone companies and Tim Hortons.
Yeah. No, grocery companies too.
They banned Twiggy.
What?
They banned Twiggy from the boat show in Toronto.
Who's Twiggy?
The water skiing squirrel.
Oh,
Why?
no.
Why?
Banned? He was actually arrested. He fought a bouncer.
Man, you should have seen. No, they found Twiggy's Reddit profile. He's super racist.
Oh my god, yeah. Towards bouncers.
That's crazy.
Twiggy got canceled. So Twiggy was the water skiing squirrel that used to come to the International Boat Show. And in 2020, there's this article on Global News. Twiggy, the water skiing squirrel, no longer able to make waves in Toronto. I'm going to read it with you. Twiggy, the popular water skiing squirrel, will have to refrain from performing in Toronto for the foreseeable future due to animal protection bylaws. Twiggy performed at the boat show, blah, blah, on January 17th, but it looks like it may have been
That's a
his
cover
last
up.
performance in the city.
Cover up. No, Twiggy was a little too into World War II. You know what I mean?
What kind of memorabilia was he collecting?
He's just a history buff. You know? What I mean?
Yeah.
It went on to say, Mayor John Tory said he sees the humor and the controversy over the water skiing squirrel, and he understands these bylaws serve a purpose. So there's some sort of bylaw that states that keeping an eastern gray squirrel in captivity in Toronto is prohibited, so they can't bring Twiggy to the city. That sucks.
Twiggy's a sovereign citizen. And
He's an American citizen.
He gave them trouble.
He's American, right? Maybe he had some charges. He can't get.
Yeah, maybe he can't get over the border.
No, but it's the bylaw's fault.
Is Twiggy on Reddit a lot?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying.
Which one though? Which one?
Is Twiggy a big fan of Elon?
Yeah. The one that's concerned about. Oh, never mind.
Finally,
never mind.
Never
mind.
All right. Dominic Kubalik, who was the Calder nominated player in 2020, I believe, is leaving.
2020, really?
Yeah, is leaving the NHL.
Oh,
He's going to Switzerland.
was he under? He wasn't under contract.
No, he wasn't, but he was a part of the DeBrincat deal.
Brindacat.
Deal, and prevented the Ottawa Senators from making a bunch of other moves that they perhaps needed to make. Because they took that contract on. Now, he wasn't very good.
The Ottawa Senators over the last couple of years are your friend who buys something, and then as soon as they get home, they're like, now where am I going to put this? Oh, well, okay. Well, we went out and we got Dominic Kubalik.
I got this kayak. How will I get it home?
Exactly. And Dominic Kayak Leak. He
Kayak
was
literally
the kayak for them. Now, how am I going to get this home? And they had no idea how to get it home.
Yeah. I mean, his numbers were not great. So I just thought that was interesting how quickly things can change.
Well,
and how weird that season was.
That's, you could also go from a 6th overall pick to
Zadina.
Not in the NHL. Dude, Zadina, I'm so disappointed. Well,
he was exciting.
Well, it was exciting because he signs that deal in Detroit, and he fought for that deal. And Detroit's like, this deal doesn't make any sense for us. And they mutually terminated their deal, and he agreed to light money on fire. Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Millions.
Millions on fire. Because he's so good that he's going to be able to go somewhere else, and if not make more money immediately, he's going to be able to make it down the line. And he went to San Jose, and he played, I think, 1 season, and he's already out of the show.
Yep.
Dude, that's really, really, really rough. And like, listen, he still gets to play hockey for a living.
Scored 13 goals last year.
Yeah.
And listen, if you're a fourth line grinder and you score 13 goals, that's great. Oh my, you're an elite fourth liner, maybe even a third liner.
There are probably teams who were more than happy to offer him a 2-way contract.
Sure.
And like at 13 goals
It's not nothing.
on a not very good team at all.
Yeah, they were so
But
bad.
the problem is not the goal scoring. The problem is the rest of the game.
Well,
And so is this a guy, I wonder, he's 24 already, which I can't believe, by the way. Can you believe he was drafted 6 years ago?
what?
Yeah, 2018 NHL draft.
Oh my God.
Is this a guy that could come back in a couple of years a different player and a more useful player?
Totally.
Well, but I'm asking that because he's 24. Like, have we seen the ceiling here?
He
No.
might just be happy playing over in where's he going? HC Davos, I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Like he just might be happy playing over there once he goes. It's a 2-year deal, you know, it's not like a 1 year where it's like, let me go get my stuff together and then come back. You know, he's committed for a couple of years.
You get to live in Switzerland. It's a pretty nice place. You make,
Yeah.
I think those guys make you can make like 400, 500 grand, something like that.
He was born in the Czech Republic. You can talk to Steve on the phone.
Oh, and I'll be like, "Kde je záchod?" And he'll be like, "Why did you ask me that?" There, that's just between you and I.
Oh.
Czech speakers. And then he'll say a more full sentence to me, and I'll be like, "Promiňte, nerozumím česky." That means, "Excuse me, I don't understand." Czech."
Is this what our season's going to be?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Adam, mluvíte česky?
Stop it. Zadina and Kubalik are gone. And we'll see what happens with them in the future. Jesse, I just sent you this link. This leaked over the summer, and unfortunately, it sounds like the person that leaked it got fired. But I still think it's worth bringing up because it looks really cool. And that is the Panthers center ice logo, which they have painted to look like a top-down view of the Stanley Cup.
Oh, fun.
Isn't that cool?
That's very nice.
It is really cool. And also, we've seen leaks of other teams. Like, it sounds like what the Panthers are doing is what everyone's kind of doing with the fully colored in center ice circle. They just did it differently because they made it look like the Stanley Cup, which is really cool. And I have questions about this.
Oh.
And there are questions that I feel like I obviously got distracted by. Because people were talking about, should this person have been fired or shouldn't they have been fired?
Do you know that an actual human was fired?
According
or
to...
was it one tweet that you read?
It's a report from, is it Andy Slater who had it there? Yeah, Andy Slater, who is a...
From the guy who broke the MLH story.
Yeah.
Whoever that fucking...
Yeah, that fucking guy. Andy Slater is a broadcaster in Miami, Florida at Fox Sports 640.
It feels like the sort of thing that would have been corrected were it not true.
Yes. Yeah, but even so.
Much like a Line A trade discussion.
Yeah, this is... So anyway, you were saying.
Well, people were talking about like, yeah, that person should have been fired because you can't do that versus, no, that's way too harsh. And my question was, do they still get a cup ring? And I think it's legit.
I think you get a cup ring.
So there's the cup rings you give the players and executives, and they're as big as a sewer grate.
Yep.
But then a lot of team staff get them as well, and they're maybe not quite as big, but they're still awesome. I mean, it's a friggin' Stanley Cup ring. Like, you know, a team's like, if you arrange the travel and you do the social media and stuff like that, you'll get a cup ring. We've seen it.
It just won't have as many diamonds in it.
Well, maybe not, but it'll still have diamonds. But it's out of, like, it's not league mandated that you need to give all your staff cup rings. Like, outside of, like, hockey ops and, like, the training staff and stuff like that. It's not mandated that everyone has to get a ring. And my question is, if you were with the team when they won the cup, then you did something before you got their ring or your ring, that got you fired, do you still get a ring that the team didn't have to give you in the first place?
I think you get a ring.
See,
I think you get
so my thinking was, yes, they should get the ring. But if you would still give them a diamond-encrusted championship ring, then maybe what they did wasn't so bad that you should fire them.
Right.
That's the way I look at it.
Okay. Well, I think the two are separate. I think you're combining.
Nah.
I think.
Would
was
you
this
rather have a job?
Was this person a part of what happened for the Panthers to win the cup? Yes.
Yes.
Did they break a rule after it? That's like saying 2 years down the road, well, I won the cup 2 years later. I got fired for doing something else that I shouldn't have done. I guess, man, I'm so glad they didn't issue me a team ring for the firing they knew was gonna happen down the road. No, he's getting a ring. He or she is getting a ring.
If you were given the option, okay, listen, what you did was bad.
Mm-hmm.
You can have your job, you can have the ring, but you can't have both.
I think everybody takes the job, but
Fucking then I'm not everybody. I want the Stanley Cup ring. Are you kidding me?
Also,
I want a Stanley Cup ring.
you're talking about the Stanley Cup ring like it's the same one the players get. There's
not.
different tiers to Stanley Cup rings. I know this from when the Raptors had their championship here, and some of the people who worked at MLS. You can I think it's I'm not sure if you have to pay for some of it yourself, but like there's a checkbox you got to fill out and stuff like that, and you hand in your thing, they give you a ring, but it's not the exact same one the players get.
No.
Yeah.
But I okay. So this is a little.
This is also, I feel like, so far from what Adam was trying to talk about.
Yeah,
about the logos.
no, but this is Steve.
Oh, I thought you wanted to bring up the thing that we previously talked about.
We did talk about this on the phone.
Yeah.
Steve was like, hey, I was like, hey, did you see this? And he's like, do you think that they get a ring? And I'm like, I never would have thought about that because I don't.
And
care
I
about
thought
that.
of it immediately.
You guys have had this conversation.
Well, I was like,
Yes.
bring it up on the show. I did say bring it up on the show.
Oh,
And then
okay.
I
Sorry,
did.
I wasn't
did my
aware.
job.
We're not a part of this.
I wasn't aware of all the background that went into the segment. All right. Thanks.
It wasn't a whole lot, Jesse.
No, it seems like this is they're built out. No, Steve, go. I didn't know we were talking about cup ring.
You don't rescind the cup ring.
All right. What is this?
You don't rescind the cup ring. You just give them the cup ring and you move on with your franchise and your life. The person broke a rule. They leaked the photo. They're fired. But they still want you appreciate them for what they did while they were there. You give them the ring.
Here's my guess. They get neither.
Wow.
I feel like Adam was right in that those two things aren't related.
They're not related. You see, Jesse, here's what would happen. If this had happened if this person had got fired, say in November for something else, they wouldn't have given the ring back, right? They're taking the ring. They would have gotten the ring
but
back,
they
they
haven't
haven't
gotten it
given the ring yet.
They haven't got
How do you know that?
Yeah, we don't know that.
How do you know that?
My
I don't
guess
think
is they haven't
I don't think the
gotten it yet.
employees get the ring before the players do. I think the players get it.
because they're not the same rings. So maybe they have like those ones for the employees.
Yeah, but you would
manufactured pretty quick.
Would you not do the ring celebration? This is how long it's been since Toronto won anything, except for the Raptors. And no, I don't count the Argos.
Or TFC, apparently.
It's still further than that. That's further back than the Raptors.
1 year.
I don't think that they would give the employees a ring before they'd give it to the players, and the players are going to get it at the first game of the season.
Okay. So he won't be there to get his ring. So maybe they mail it to him. So Steve, you're saying they don't even mail it to him. They say, no, you don't.
It got lost.
It's Florida. They'll fire you if you show up and they don't like your shirt. Like, there's no laws.
Oh, I thought you meant like the organization. Like you think they're mean to people?
Well, no, I'm just saying the people who work for that organization live in Florida where there are no laws governing that state, like at all.
Okay.
It's just a place run by alligators. And that's
I think that's another segment.
Yeah, it is another. I don't think they're gonna get either. But if
Maybe
I
that's
had
where
to
the true
choose, I would
liberty
choose
belongs.
the ring.
Coach that got put in the Uber.
Oh,
That was
Gerard
friggin'
Gallant.
That was
Gerard Gallant in Florida.
from Florida.
Because an alligator fired him.
Do you think they got this employee an Uber?
No. I think they got him to get the fuck out.
Does he get a cup ring in the Uber?
I would take it.
If your choice is to get an Uber ride home or a cup ring, what do you pick?
Yo, if your Uber driver had a cup ring, that's all I would talk about.
Silly.
I would set my destination to somewhere further away so I could ask them about it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So where do you land on this? They're not getting a ring?
So anyway, I think the center ice logo is pretty cool.
I think it's a cool logo. I thought it was a great idea. Well done. A Merit Bank Arena.
SGP is so back. Holy shit.
I don't know about any of that.
That was a great segment. We're so back.
It's a league mandate this year for the center ices to fill up the whole circle. We saw it from Ottawa and another team, now Florida. So, yeah.
Man.
Well, I can't wait to see the Leafs one. It's going to be fun.
Nope. We're not seeing it.
I bet it'll just be the Leaf logo with some blue.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
You think they'll do something cool though? No,
I
you
like
know how
these
the
kind
Leafs are. The Leafs are like, nope, this is not brand safe.
Right.
Like they're very corporate about it, I guess.
Because we're getting to see like creative designers come up with things, you know.
Yes.
They're being tasked with a new task and everybody's gonna have a new thing. It's like when you get new jerseys. I like seeing a brand new jersey because somebody got to create something. So we'll see how the ices are.
It'll be interesting for the teams that have like more navy blue or black in their logo because we're going to be like, that looks so cool. Where's the puck? Every time the puck goes through the neutral zone, this is so cool. It looks great on TV. Where's the fucking puck? They were showing what was it, Ottawa? I can't remember, but it had a lot of black in the logo. And that was, again, the first thing I thought of was everyone's going to lose the puck in the logo.
And
they're going to have no
ring.
idea where it is. And their cup ring. I don't think Ottawa's going to have that problem.
By the way, Steve Stais is talking in the media right now as we're recording this. And he did comment on the Linus Ullmark contract extension. And they said they're going to wait for Linus to feel more comfortable before they get really serious about it. So there's, it's not that the Senators are taking the ownership of, we're waiting.
Though it's worked for them so well.
Well, to me, it feels like we really, really want to protect this asset because we need him to stay. But, maybe he does.
We're going to wait until we're roughly 500 by Christmas and he loses interest entirely.
Stop.
And then trade him.
Yeah. This show is brought to you by BetterHelp. Now, we have talked about this for a long, long time. Therapy is a big part of all of our lives. And it can be a big part of your life if you want it to be, or it can be kind of a small feature of your life. And that's the great thing about BetterHelp is it allows you the flexibility wherever you are and however your life is going, whether or not you need it a lot or you need it just a little bit of maintenance.
One thing that Adam Wilde has said fairly recently, if I remember, but he said it in the past, is that September is the new year.
September is the new year.
That's an Adam Wildism, correct? Yes.
September is the new year.
And not January.
Not January. January's fake New Year.
Yeah, it's truly, this is like the turning point in kind of the season, everybody's lives and back to school and everything like that. And if there's ever a time to start something, it's in the true new year.
I've never once gotten to January 1st and been like, all right, here we go. Right. No, it's a day. I've been nervous all weekend.
This is the season where things turn over and it's a new
Yes.
year. So if you're going to start something new and you want to do like the new health and wellness part of your life, and therapies always should be a big part of that.
Absolutely. So take a moment and check out betterhelp.com/SDP today to check to get 10% off your first month. Again, it's betterhelp, HELP.com/SDP. Jeremy Swayman is another goalie who needs a new contract at the end of the season. And some crazy numbers have been thrown out there. Although it is Jeremy Swayman and his numbers are crazy. Like, they're really good. There were reports that he was somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 million, which we haven't seen since Bobrovsky.
Well,
and the rumor is Boston wants 6, he wants 8.
Jesse, I didn't say anything. I don't know why you're pointing at me.
What?
Are you going to correct him?
Correct him on
About Swayman?
Swayman needs a contract for this season.
Oh, it's this season.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Oh, that wasn't what I was going to say.
Okay.
Because he was participating in captain's thing. You're right.
Before
it's
we
this
had
season.
a Montreal situation again with the second round
okay.
pick.
That matters.
He
that
currently needs a contract to play in the 24-25 season.
So I got that confused. That
He's
shit
an
matters.
RFA.
It's not a second round pick 2 years from now. That shit is what really matters, and don't forget it. So okay,
Adam, do you feel good about yourself?
I don't care.
Matt, you can bring up Puckpedia there, just display it. He's an RFA right now.
So the thing with Swayman is apparently, like I said, $10 million is what the reported ask was, but he's going to be a UFA in 26-27, it looks like. So if you're doing a contract with him, I would expect Boston at 25 wants to do a big old 5-year to 6-year to 8-year deal, right? You're buying
Long-term
UFA years. And Swayman knows when he's a UFA that the salary cap will be at, and this is a crazy number, somewhere between $96 and $98 million. So about $10 million more than it is right now. If you're him, why do you sign a long-term deal right now?
Well, yeah, this is why I think the number, I think 10 was leaked out there. I don't know by who. So that when he signs for 2 years at 5, 6, 7 mil, we all shit our pants with how great of a deal it is.
Except that would be walking him right to UFA.
Yeah, but
It's Boston.
that sounds like 2 years from now's problem.
I would be so disappointed if I'm a Bruins fan. 2 years?
You know what?
But who leaves Boston? Willingly.
You'd be disappointed as a hardcore Bruins fan. Sometimes I think we get too online about these things, and we just don't think about we think too much
Jesse,
about
is Steve accusing you of being too online?
No, I'm Steve.
Meat kettle.
It took until 36, but Steve finally gained self-awareness. And because sometimes I'll talk to people about hockey, and I'm like, I'm being too online right now.
Right.
Or I'll have references where I'm like, they have no idea what I'm talking about. And like, oh yeah, hey, you see Swayman signed for an affordable deal that's going to make him the starting goalie of the Boston Bruins for the next 2 years. Most people are not going to react negatively to that. Most people are going to be like, fuck yeah. Jeremy Swayman is the goalie of the Boston Bruins for the next 2 years, and it's at a reasonable deal, and they can go out and sign other guys if they want. Most people are going to have a good reaction to that. If you look into the nitty gritty, or maybe in 2 years when he goes, actually, I want 12
Right.
because the cap's gone up and he's a UFA and that's his number. Yeah, this will maybe be, we can look back and go, well, that's why the last deal wasn't so good because you should have thought of this ahead of time. But when he signs for a shorter deal, or, maybe it's a 3-year deal and they buy 1 year of UFA and he signs 3 times 8, something like that. I just don't think anyone's going to have a negative reaction to Swayman being the goalie of the Bruins.
I think it's a great point in that sometimes thinking too much like a general manager or a capologist ruins sports fandom. And sometimes when your team just picks up a guy and signs him and you're like, oh, that's fun. Get to root for this guy for years.
Yeah.
Like that, you can also look at it from that perspective.
Can you win with Leon Draisaitl making $14 million? I don't know the answer to that, but I do know you can probably win with Leon Draisaitl.
So when
you know what I mean?
the Toronto Maple Leafs decide to run it back and give everybody the same amount of money,
you
should just
can't
be like,
win with them.
You should just be like, this is great. I don't know what the cap looks like. I'm just a fan.
There's so much evidence that you can't win with them, though. Right. So you're talking about 2019. It's an interesting thought exercise. In 2019, I was like, yeah, no, bring them all back because they're really, really good and they're only going to get better. Do it. There's just no evidence you can do it with this group now that we're half a decade into the future. Like, they're literally the poster children of playoff failure. But there are other teams.
If you don't believe Steve, by the way, ask every other fan group because they'll tell you.
You should be able to ask Leaf fans. You should be able to ask, look at the goddamn results. Like, what are we all talking about?
I think there are certain among who are always going to be relentlessly positive because life is not, as a Leaf fan, not giving them a choice.
Yes, and it's good to be relentlessly positive unless it means being relentlessly incorrect. Which you simply are in this case. Now, there's me making it about the Leafs. Most fans,
that was my fault.
Yeah, no, it's okay. But most fans, though, no, but in 2019,
He said no, but
in 2019
times in 30 seconds.
I know. In 2019, you could have made the argument, hey, 10.893 is too goddamn much for Mitch Marner. But the vast majority of fans are like, yeah, but Mitch stays the Leaf.
I get Mitch.
Hooray.
That's Jeremy getting that kind of money. Like if you got $8 million over 3 years, okay, it's not a 5-year deal, but it's a 3-year deal.
I think
it's the best years of his career.
It's a downright reasonable deal. Like what I'm coming up with right now. You buy 1 year of unrestricted free agency. You kick the can 3 years down the road. It's good for the Bruins because they get him at a reasonable deal. Given that the number out there is 10.
Other than Bobrovsky and Price, goalies really haven't been paid in the double digits millions.
Well, I did discover that there is a prerequisite for being one of the top 3 highest paid goalies in the league. And that is you need to beat the Leafs in the playoffs. The last 3 goalies
everybody
the Leafs have lost to in the Stanley Cup playoffs are the 3 highest paid goalies in the league. Sergei Bobrovsky at 10.5, Andrei Vasilevsky at 9.5, and Carey Price, or no, Bobrovsky at 10, I think. Vasilevsky at 9.5, Price at 10.5.
Wow. Except for last year where they lost to the Bruins goalies.
Jeremy Swayman.
Yep.
One thing,
Yeah, they never lost to Allmark.
one thing that's always interesting
1-0, baby.
in these RFA negotiations is when you go and you look and you're like, okay, so this guy's holding out and he's doing a bunch of stuff. Who's his agent? And this time it's Louis Gross, who we're very familiar with in Toronto, who is William Nylander's agent, who is very notorious for holding out for half a season and ruining his own season.
Yes.
Yep.
So Jeremy Swayman, if I understand this correctly, is going to sign December 1st and play like hog shit for the rest of the season.
Wasn't great.
I like
Cool.
that.
Can't wait.
So, yeah, I think this might be a little. I hope for the sake of Bruins fans that this isn't a long standoff because they need him to start this regular season. You need your starting goaltender. But it might leak a little into training camp.
Jesse.
I feel like we might be sitting here a month from now and he's still not signed. But then
He was at some captain's thing that the Bruins held.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is it's like unsanctioned. It's
Right,
not
it's not a
NHL, so
Bruin.
they can all just do it, which is cool.
I understand Jesse's logic. I don't hope that for you. No, I hope they're bad. I hope he doesn't sign, and I hope you're bad.
Okay, there you go.
It's nothing. It's not personal, but you understand.
OHL players are staying out of OHL camps and getting ready for NHL rookie camps. Two key players and two very different reactions from their club teams about this. Colby Barlow of the Owen Sound Attack and Easton Cowan. So Colby Barlow obviously is a Winnipeg pick. Easton Cowan is a Toronto pick. The Owen Sound Attack in the Owen Sound Sun-Times, which I read up on it, are not thrilled about it. Their general manager said it's a new reality that we have to deal with. Easton Cowan, Mark Hunter of the London Knights didn't seem too worried about it. In fact, he's got a comment I want to get to because he kind of is effusive in his praise about Easton Cowan. But what we're going to start to see is a bunch of these CHL guys who are the top performers on their teams, who are drafted, not exhaust themselves before going to rookie camp. And we talked to Alan Walsh about it on
I was
AP.
gonna say this was a great segment.
Well, he said, why would you go to rookie camp for an NHL club exhausted? Because it's not like you're going to go into a training camp and you're the captain of the team in the OHL, and they're going to go easy on you because you might make the NHL team. They're going to go hard, and then
No, Bill Guerin will beat the shit out of you in your own team's scrimmage.
I'm actually just talking about the OHL teams.
Yeah, no.
But
Sorry, that clip is still crazy.
it's
to
an
me.
insane clip.
Yeah.
But OHL training camp is like now, right? Starts now. So
I feel like people don't necessarily know the timeline.
yeah,
Like,
so
can you walk
OHL
us
camp
through-
is like starting, I believe, this week. And then
Yeah.
you've got rookie camps, which start in a week and a half for NHL teams, a week and a half, 2 weeks. And so when training camp is done for the OHL, then these guys would go to rookie camp. And what Alan said is there's guys that like show up and he's like, I wish I had a day in between to relax, but I don't. And I'm getting on a plane and I'm going to this rookie camp. And then beyond that, they always tell you, the OHL team will always tell you, come to camp. It'll be great for your fitness. And we're not going to put you in any games. And inevitably, they put you in a game, and then it's Murphy's Law. If it can go wrong, it will. And then you're going to rookie camp, maybe with a nagging whatever injury. That isn't enough to keep you out of the lineup, isn't enough to keep you off the ice, but you're not performing very well. Or you're watching the entire rookie camp from the training room. And the reality of the OHL is that it is there to promote stars. There to get people. The OHL's job, it's a very interesting job. Their job is to make sure the best players leave.
Yes,
Right?
beat it.
Get out.
Get out. The best outcome for the London Knights is Easton Cowan never returns.
Yes.
He's played his last game as a
That
Knight.
would mean that the London Knights served their OHL purpose, although the London Knights want to win championships, and they always do, and I get
course.
it. But the whole point of the league on the whole is to develop these young guys. And so it's interesting to hear the Owen Sound Attack GM, while I understand his position,
I don't.
you don't understand.
I don't.
You don't understand how he might be like, hey, I would like it if he was here.
No, he's wrong.
Okay.
He's wrong, and hockey talks out of both sides of its mouth with this. Mark Messier used to hold out of training camp, and he was named captain and had a leadership award named after him.
He used to hold out a training camp?
Yep, I just Googled it. I put in Messier skips training camp. There's a story from 2002. There's a story from 1994. There's a story from 1995. Yeah.
He just didn't go?
I don't have time to bring it all up. But September 10th, 1994, Messier is missing from Rangers camp.
This is Cookie Guy, right?
This is Cookie. Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, Mark Messier is famous for not lifting a Stanley Cup cookie above his head. He is lesser known for winning 6 Stanley Cups. This is a guy who, he's one of the best leaders in NHL history, and that's why he gets an award named after him where he's the guy who picks the winner. We're not gonna pause on that. We're not gonna reconsider, hey, that's a little odd. That's a little strange. Anyway, this guy was...
And last year he picked Mr. Elbows himself.
Jacob Trouba.
Yeah.
So this guy who they named a leadership award after used to hold out of NHL camp.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
This dude won a Stanley Cup in 1994 and then went, I'm tired and I don't feel like going. And also, you definitely shouldn't hold it against me. I'm Mark Messier.
Yeah.
I'm the captain and we just won a cup. Remember that time I guaranteed a win and then we won?
Yeah.
Because of me?
What are you going to say?
Right.
What are you going to say? Now, I'm not trying to call Colby Barlow Mark Messier, but I'm definitely calling the Owen Sound Attack not the New York Rangers.
Exactly.
And I know this was 30 years ago, but all I'm saying is if you're going to miss camp and it's for a purpose, and that purpose is trying to graduate from... I make a stipend per week and I have my OHL education versus I get to be on the friggin' Winnipeg Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you mean you don't understand? What do you mean this is inconvenient for you? Fuck you. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I know that's not what Colby Barlow would say, but I guess I'm throwing it out the window of us doing an event with the Owen Sound Attack. But I know this isn't what Colby Barlow would say, but it's absolutely what his agent should say. Yeah, I'm sorry. I want to make the Winnipeg Jets. I have a chance to make the Winnipeg Jets. And you want me
After
to show
40 goals in 50 games last year.
Yeah, and you're mad at me. You're going to hold it against me that I'm not showing up to Intersquad
I don't think that's what he's
scrimmage.
saying. I don't think he's going to...
What did he say?
He said, okay, I'll pull the actual quote.
What did he say? And if it was anything with even a hint of negativity, you should tell him to kiss your bum.
He said, I'm pulling it up. He said his name is okay, I'm pulling it up. DeGray. Last name is DeGray.
Great guy.
He said, if I'm stuck in the mud, I'm going to get left behind. He said he doesn't like the change, but he'll have to adapt. We just have to deal with it.
We just have to deal with it? Like, is he saying it?
He said, I want Colby Barlow to be an Owen Sound. I wish he was here.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm getting confused by the flavor there.
Dale DeGray is his name.
I'm getting confused by the flavor. No. You know what?
I don't think that changes anything about what you said.
No, you don't want him here. You don't want him here. Are you saying you'd rather have a really good player? I totally understand that.
I think in the context...
Is that what he's saying?
I think in the context of Owen Sound, they've had a lot of... they've had tumultuous season after tumultuous seasons, and I don't think that their outlook is very positive this year. They've lost in the first round successively, and it says at the end...
awful.
Mixed,
Here for that.
There's... after the tumultuous season mixed with the perception Owen Sound will be a youthful club with low expectations this year, have some wondering if Barlow is looking for a change of scenery in the OHL.
Oh, well, you know what? They're going to... Oh, man, you're really selling me on this whole Owen Sound Attack thing.
I think what'll happen...
Like, oh, yeah, they're not going to be very good, and I'm in charge of making them very good, or I could go to the NHL and make hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Barlow, I think, if he does go
pick.
back, will be one of those deadline trades that'll be like, we'll take your next 40 picks.
Oh, and I have to move. Cool.
Yeah, all of those 9-year-olds that got traded.
Yeah.
For one guy.
That's 100% what it'll be.
Oh, man. So, here, wait. Sorry. Let me weigh my options again. I gotta do Intersquad camp at the beginning of September in Owen Sound.
End of August.
End of August.
So yeah, the funny thing about this is when we're talking about this, a lot of the camps probably or have finished by now, because a lot of them started that final week of August, August 26th week.
Because the OHL season begins, I think it begins in like 2 weeks.
End of September. I think the first game is September 28th, 27th-ish.
Preseason, very soon.
And like for just the timing of, from a conditioning standpoint, they're so young, it doesn't really matter when you're at that age, but ramping up that quickly to go to camp at the end of August and then going to the NHL camp at the beginning, end mid-September. I feel like the timing too, from just you got to be at your full capacity for that camp, and then there's a couple weeks, and then you got to go to NHL camp where you got to be at full capacity. I'd rather train and get ready for the other camp as opposed to doing the two. It just doesn't make sense.
No. What if I got exhausted?
Right. I don't know why more guys don't do this, and why this hasn't been a thing for a long time. Maybe it has, and we just haven't noticed.
You know what I should do instead is I should show up in late August, get bag skated, play an intra-squad game where I
every day
rinse
for like 5 days.
They're all 15.
I rinse my teammates, get my collarbone broken by some tryhard who's trying to make the team, and then I spend all that time rehabbing that. I return to the lineup so that I can perform well on this team that is not going to perform well, and you can milk me like a cow at the trade deadline, like so that you can get draft picks 13 years from now, right? And then I got to move mid-season. That's not going to affect my education at all. Or here's a crazy idea.
What's the idea?
Don't exhaust myself. I go to NHL training camp. I perform well. I turn pro and make hundreds of thousands of dollars. No one should give him any grief for this.
No. And
no one should even not understand it.
And the Knights are not with Easton Cowan, who is going to remain with his athletic trainer. And in Mark Hunter said this. He is going to dictate where he plays with how he plays. He knows that. He's a very committed kid. That's the one thing about Easton. I've talked to him and he said, I'm going to do my damnedest to make the Maple Leafs team, of course, but if it's okay, I would like to come back to London if we don't make it. He said,
there you go.
Here's what Mark said.
There you go.
He's got the right frame of mind, and I think it's important for every hockey player. For our team, you just don't know. It depends on injuries Toronto has and how this falls into place. It's a whole new dynamic on the salary cap. There's a lot of things at play here, and the one thing I know is it's out of my hands. It's like the rain when you're a farmer. If it rains too much or not enough, that's out of your hands. Of course, Easton makes a difference. He's an excellent player, and he plays at both ends of the ice. That, I think, is what, if you're a general man... See, here's what I sense. This is less to do about Colby Barlow and more to do about the positioning of these guys. First off, Mark Hunter is not going to get fired as the general manager of the London Knights because, fun fact, he owns them.
Yes.
I think this Owen Sound general manager is probably under the gun a little bit.
Well, it's
my best player. He's not going to be here. Shit.
It's also attitude of organizations. Like, hey, Owen Sound, a player is going to graduate. Yeah, well, it's going to be adversity for us, and we're just going to have to figure it out. And we're not expected to do much, and this is going to make it difficult for us to succeed and advance. And I don't know what we're going to do. Hey, London, a player of yours is graduating. We know.
We expected that.
Yeah,
we're London.
Yeah, we're fucking really good. Thanks. Owen Sound has a wildly passionate fan base.
Oh, crazy. Yeah.
Dude, the 2011 Memorial Cup in Mississauga and the OHL final, which was a bloodbath, Game 7, overtime. It ends the way that we all imagined winning a championship. Mississauga scored on their own net.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Oh my God. Just really tough.
Very depressing.
Really depressing. Really, yeah. Jared Maiden's championship winning goal credited to him.
Jeez.
And if I'm a grandparent, Jared Maiden's, in the future, I'm going to be like, yeah, I was coming down on a breakaway and it was a penalty shot.
Sniped.
It's not quite how it happened. But no, they're an unbelievably passionate fan base. And so I could understand maybe being under the gun from a passionate fan base. But no, it's a good thing when your players graduate.
Do you want to hear what the players are missing by not going to Owen Sound Attack training camp?
More than anything in my life. I have never wanted to know more. If before this segment, if you'd said that, I've been like, I'm But now that Steve has raised the stakes in the manner in which he has, let's go. Jason.
I need to know how many Cliff Bars he won't get to have.
So every OHL team actually on their site, you could go and you could see their training camp schedule because you can go and you can watch it. And most of them are like free to the public, and it's really cool to get the community out to training camp. So the Owen Sound Attack have their training camp schedule, and actually took place from August 26th to August 30th. So all of this has already completed. Day 1. Monday, August 26th, you can go out and watch Team Practice 1 from 9 a.m. to 9:50. Rookie Scrimmage, scroll up. Rookie Scrimmage 1, Team 1 versus Team 2 from 10:15 to 11:30. So there's a little break in between there. Then 11:40 to 12:30, Team Practice 2. Then 1 to 2:30, Returning Players Practice. And then 3 to 4:30, Rookie Scrimmage number 2.
What a fucking nightmare.
So if you're a rookie in there, you're getting a couple scrimmages, a couple practices, and if you're a returning player, it's very similar. Next day, same shit. 9 a.m. to 4:30, team practice, rookie scrimmage, team practice, returning players practice, rookie scrimmage. Wednesday,
say goodbye to all that weight you put on in the offseason.
Wednesday, you get a break. Only 2 practices. That's it. Team 1 practices and team. So 1 practice individually.
Practice,
That's good. There's your break on Wednesday. Thursday, back at it. Practice, scrimmage, practice, scrimmage. Friday, more of the same. Practice, scrimmage, practice, scrimmage.
Yo, so
That's brutal.
They're expected to do that.
and then play preseason.
Then go play your first professional games.
No, you're going to play preseason games this week before the rookie game.
So wait, you
only
do
have-
that, preseason games, then NHL camp.
yeah.
They have a limited number of preseason games, I believe.
Fuck! No!
I was looking at Oshawa. Oshawa only played, I think, 2 or 3 preseason games, so there's not a lot, but they are like next week and some this week. So yeah, it'd be this and then preseason and then
Let me
NHL.
just say this. We're not talking about normal camp.
No.
We're talking about Colby Barlow and Easton Cowan specifically in this, and I know there are other players going from OHL camp to NHL rookie camp, which begins before training camp. And if you do a good job in rookie camp as a rookie, you then get the invite to NHL camp like Easton Cowan did last year, like Fraser Minton did last year. So you're going from camp to NHL camp.
And then you play NHL games, and
the NHL camp's like a month
and
long.
Fraser Minton doesn't look that good. he looks sort of out of place.
Why is he tired?
He looks kind of tired.
Like he's been going hard every day in September.
I don't know if
August.
is he up to the standard of playing with grown men? Meanwhile, they went through a month of just getting beaten with hammers. And then they show up and play their first pro hockey, and we're like, I don't know if they're that good at hockey.
They just don't seem to have the jump to their game.
Yeah, no, he's not up to the pace of pro. Dude, Colby Barlow. No. You know what? I think this player really needs intra-squad scrimmages. So
His stats are insane. His stats are crazy.
3 years ago, 59 games played, 30 goals, 17 assists, 47 points. And in the playoffs, he had 6 points in 7 games. The next year, 59 games played, 46 goals, 33 assists, 79 points. In the playoffs, he had 3 goals in 4 games. Last year, 50 games played, 40 goals, 18 assists. Holy shit, this guy should go for the Cy Young. He's such a goal suck.
He's all W, no L.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
40 goals, 18 assists for 58 points. And in the playoffs, again, he had 3 points in 4 games. His team is not very good around him. And then he went to play with the Manitoba Moose in the AHL. He played 3 games. He had a goal and 2 assists. Hey, I'm a point-a-game player in pro. +2 for any of those who care. No. I think he should be playing, what was it, 46 intra-squad scrimmages a week? That sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Against guys he can objectively crush. Like
half of them were like team rookie. You know? Like, come on.
It's like, they're a young team, which means they have a bunch of 15 and 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I think he should show up.
An NHL draft pick.
Show up. He should definitely show up to an intra-squad scrimmage where if he shoots the puck, he feels like an asshole. Are you kidding?
So moving on from that, I just thought that was one of the more interesting stories of the summer. That because it's the summer, no one cares.
Yeah.
And it's the OHL. It's never going to make the top news in like hockey news.
This isn't meant to lean into the Owen Sound attack or even that.
They're going to take it that way, though.
Oh, I'm sure.
All the Owen Sound fans are going to attack.
I really, really hope not because I've seen them in action.
And they're good.
Oh, they drowned Mississauga out entirely.
Well, that's not surprising.
No.
That's the lowest bar that you can
It
set.
is,
That's Florida
actually.
Panthers 2006.
It is. I went to a game where their announced attendance was 700, and it was definitely less.
Yeah, of course.
Because there was snow during hockey season. Anyway, like I'm not doing it to attack the Owen Sound Attack or their GM.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing it to be like, why would we ever expect anyone to go through this?
Wow.
It's insane,
when
right?
they also have a gig in the NHL, like that's what,
or a potential one.
yeah, that's a potential. Yeah, not just the regular. Like if you're not eligible for rookie camp for an NHL team, you need this. Go to training camp.
Yeah.
Everybody else.
Yeah.
Easton Cowan, like going up to Mark Hunter, like, hey, I'm going to skip training camp. I'm not going to come to training camp. And he just goes, yeah.
Good, yeah.
Why would you?
What the fuck are you doing here?
You had 400 points last year.
Yeah. I also think as a brand, when you're looking at the OHL, like the general manager here, and I don't blame him, again, he might be under fire. The brand of the London Knights is lifted by Easton Cowan, or John Tavares or Max Domi or Nas. I'm just naming Leafs that were former London Knights. But like there were high-end picks.
Yeah.
All the high-end picks that come out of there. And there are Corey Perry. I don't know. We can go back. Every draft, there's like a high-end London Knights pick. It's because the program is very strong. Now, have the London Knights done some things where you go, that raises some eyebrows?
Of course.
Sure, but that's professional sports. And in terms of like getting players, they outcompete all of their competitors, with the exception maybe of the Kitchener Rangers, on getting guys. They'll bend rules. They'll blow past them. And so what? They're winning. Mm-hmm. They're winning.
Dude, these are...
No, call them on it then.
Dude, 20 games played in the playoffs, 9 goals, 12 assists, 21 points, then got drafted.
Who's this?
Easton Cowan.
Oh.
54 games played, 34 goals, 62 assists, 96 points, led the team in points per game. Playoffs show up, 18 games, 10 goals, 24 assists. He was over an assist per game in the playoffs, and he had 34 points in those 18 games. What is he doing showing up to junior camp?
Yeah, exactly. So let's move
There's
on
no
to the next
reason.
story. Let's move on to the next
No.
story. Because
Here's some more stats.
let's move on to the next story because it's an interesting one. And then I'm going to leave the rest of it for Friday because we just don't have the time. Real quick, the Philadelphia Flyers terminated the contract of Ryan Johanssen earlier this summer. The Flyers placed, according to their statement, Ryan Johanssen on unconditional waivers, quote, due to material breach. The team cannot terminate his contract until he clears waivers, and of course he did. Kurt Overhart, his agent, Ryan Johanssen has a severe hockey injury that requires extensive surgery, which has been scheduled. Since being traded to the Flyers, Ryan has worked in good faith with the club, its medical staff, and authorized third-party physicians. So here's what we know. We know that that they're going to, through the NHLPA, Kurt Overhart, Ryan Johanssen are going to challenge this. What they can reasonably expect to get is the money and not the roster spot. My question is, because I'm being cynical in this instance, is does that get charged back to the Philadelphia Flyers? And if not, why
The cap
not?
hit, you mean?
Yeah. And if not,
The
why
cap
it
hit?
won't.
No.
The cap hit doesn't. Even if they were found, even if the Flyers have to pay his salary anyway, it's an interesting way to get out of having that $4 million on your cap.
It is interesting, the word.
Because Ryan Johanssen and John Tortorella do not like each other. And when he got traded to Philadelphia, I thought, okay, so who are they trading him to next? Because there's no way he's playing for Torts. Like the reason he was traded from Columbus to Nashville is because of how much they hated each other. And Ryan Johansson's a guy that's driven coaches nuts everywhere he's gone. So it's not like this is just a Torts problem. It was just the first problem in Johansson's career.
I was surprised to see Colorado trade him last year.
100%. Listen, Johansson may never play in the NHL again. We don't know what this injury is. We don't know how severe it is. But my thing is, okay, everybody in the hockey world knows Torts and Johansson don't get along. You traded for his contract. Now you have found a way out of it.
And he played
I
the
think it
minors,
feels
or the
like when we
sevens.
talk about cap circumvention and the Tampa Bay Lightning in 2021 and the Arizona Coyotes up until they moved to Utah, which were the exact same thing as the Lightning, just on the other end, right? Full-blown cap circumvention in everything but the actual written law. This feels like a little bit like what happened in LA with Mike Richards. Different situation that led to the contract termination, much different, but LA got a random sweetheart deal from the NHL that is outside of the agreed upon NHLPA deal on buyout.
Yeah,
They do this all the time. This is how the NHL runs their business. Corey Perry had his contract terminated, and the NHLPA never filed a grievance. They threatened to file a grievance, but they never did, because after everything happened, then he re-signed in Edmonton. They had negotiations.
They had a settlement. They
had negotiations off the books, and they reached a settlement for an undisclosed amount for him to get some sort of money back. We don't know how much it was. I bet it's probably the full amount he was owed.
Yeah.
And there was no cap hit charged back to the Blackhawks because all of this was off the books. And they just said, la-di-da-di-da, situation's closed, everybody move on.
And we're all NDA, don't ask us about it.
This is how the NHL does everything.
It's infuriating.
We're just gonna, somebody bet on bet on some games. We're just gonna settle this off the table. We're not gonna have any rules laid out for this. It's just gonna be like up to the commissioner's discretion, and then we're gonna suspend him for this amount, and we're gonna move on. Corey Perry, we're just gonna move on.
Yeah.
They're gonna do this, they're gonna settle, and then they're gonna move on.
Yes.
This is how they run it. It's such a joke.
To be fair, Pinto did not bet on games.
He didn't bet on games. It was, he had a friend who uses his account and all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to be clear.
No,
because
that's fair. It's just how they do their business.
Now, you should be picky about every instance where this happens on account of you're a league. Like, have some pride and shit. But, like, okay, the Blackhawks get out of Corey Perry's contract. They're not going to compete for anything other than a bottom 5 spot in the entire league. They're not a cap team either. So the cap charges them. Who cares? Every team in the
even
Metro,
though nothing is charged to them.
No, I know. But
And it does give them a material advantage over their other non-playoff teams because they got out from under a deal and they can make more deals at the trade deadline.
every team in the Metro should be pushing for a resolution here. The Flyers missed the playoffs by 1 point.
Yeah, but I don't think that's because New Jersey had a terrible year. I think
Who gives a shit?
Who
gives a shit?
If you're going to look forward to this season, I think that the idea that the Flyers are going to be in the same contention window.
Who knows?
I mean,
Who knows? We've seen some weird.
Well,
teams
New
make a
Jersey
playoff
was
run.
weird,
Yes.
but I just think that New Jersey's not going to repeat that.
We're going to pretend like Seattle didn't go to the second round a couple years ago? Like,
I think you don't see the push from other teams is because when they're in that similar position, they want also the same leeway. It dates back to things like Mike Richards, as Adam started off this conversation. They've been doing this for a long time. Teams know eventually we might be in this situation too. We're not going to get involved. Let the league and the PA and everyone Gary handle this, and they'll solve that. And whatever comes out of that, like that'll be it.
does it feel like more teams are doing this? Like, I just feel like more contracts have been terminated in let's go with post-COVID.
That'd be a great question for CJ.
Yeah.
I feel like he would be like, yeah, in the recently there's been more because it does feel that way.
Yeah.
Or maybe we're just paying more attention.
That could
The other
be
thing
it.
is we're older and we're paying more attention than even we did when we started this show, right? Like we were just fans starting the show, and now it's not that we're any different than on the fan side of things, but I do think that now that this is our full-time job, and as leading up to our full-time job, and as we expanded to 3 episodes a week, we got more granular. We met people within the game. We asked a lot of questions, whereas when we were just 3 fuck-ups in my mom's basement, it was a little different, right?
I'm going to go with it's my full-time job ahead of I'm chronically online.
Yeah,
That's what I'm going to call it.
That's fair. That's fair. But my question is I know other leagues have situations like this, and so it's not like it's only an NHL thing. My question is, the NHL's they do pick and choose when they're going to hold you to something.
Oh yeah.
And so if I am somebody that's held accountable on certain things like a buyout, right? It frustrates me when I see other teams not being held accountable on a buyout. If you want to buy out Ryan Johanssen, buy him out. Buy him out. If he doesn't want to play for you, if he scheduled his surgery too late in the summer, which sounds like might have been the thing that happened, so he wouldn't have to play this year because he doesn't want to play for Torts. Why did you get Ryan Johansson's contract? You knew he was never going to play for Torts. Buy him out.
No, if you want to schedule...
You waited for him to schedule his surgery late in the summer so you could go, that's a material breach. You're out of here. And it worked.
Yeah, no, if you want to schedule your surgery at a weird time, you have to do that in conjunction with your team, so that it's mutually beneficial, right? Oh no, he's gonna be out till Christmas. Oh no.
Do you think Torts is excited? I think he's pumped.
It's oh yeah.
Torts is like, great. There's another guy I don't have to yell at. He's never going to play my brand of hockey.
No, I think he relishes the opportunity.
I don't think he wants to. I think there was a reason Columbus traded him. They could have fired the coach or traded the young hotshot centerman. And what did they do? They traded the young hotshot centerman. So we'll leave it there because I've got more stuff to hit on Friday, stuff that occurred over the summer. It's been that much of a newsworthy summer. But don't forget, we got a VIP episode coming out this week as well. Yeah, and if you haven't signed up for VIP, you can do that right now on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple. Our most recent interview, although we had a couple of great ones this summer, was Michael Bublé. And that was a really special episode. We
didn't even talk about that.
We have not talked or promoted Bublé at all. Maybe we should play a clip in the next episode, but he's been amazing.
Let's do that Friday.
Yeah, and we hope to have more fun sort of interview stuff like that. Plus, Jesse's trivia games are just incredible. So we did that a little bit too. Frank Corrado was amazing. So we'll get into that. Let's kick off the extra.
Last note, Cole Caulfield is going to wear number 13 in honor of Johnny Gaudreau starting this season.
I love that.
I think that's a fantastic tribute. He said he grew up idolizing him, so this is what he's going to do in his memory. Fantastic stuff from Caulfield there.
That makes me feel so old, but it's awesome.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.